departments all across California, if not the western United States, mobilizing to a community in need.
Crews stepping up as wildfires continue to rage across several western states tonight. That includes the Park Fire in Northern California, now one of the largest fires in state history. That fire started last Wednesday, and already it's burned more than 370,000 acres. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Crews struggled early on to try to get a handle on this fire, but firefighters are now making progress, thanks in large part to an increase in humidity levels and a temporary dip in the temperatures in that fire zone. As KTVU's Tom Vakar shows us, help is now coming from far and wide.
The Park Fire, 370,000 acres in 4 counties. If it grows just 10,000 more acres, it will be the 5th largest fire and still growing. Wildfire mutual aid is rendered through California's Unified Command structure with contracts and agreements with various agencies, local, state, and federal.
Literally hundreds, if not thousands, of firefighters were able to mobilize into one particular community to help them with their needs. And that's exactly what we're seeing again, this time much earlier in the season than we would typically see.
Unified Command ensures that all resources, fire, rescue, dispatch, and paramedic, are utilized to their fullest potential during emergencies for the greatest success in response efforts.
We have common communications, common tactics, and an incident command system which is standardized across the state and really has greatly enhanced our ability to work together with agencies that we've never seen or met before.
The San Francisco Fire Department currently has 12 firefighters at the Park Fire with 4 fire trucks. Alameda County Fire and the East Bay Regional Park District have each sent 4 to 20 firefighters to the Park Fire each day. Amazingly, Contra Costa County's huge countywide agency has yet to have been called to send crews to the fire. Santa Rosa, recipient of numerous mutual aid efforts, is part of Sonoma County's mutual aid strike team of several departments up there right now on the lines battling the fire. But when the call does come, firefighters must respond instantly.
Where you could have a matter of minutes to grab your gear and you could be gone for upwards of 2 weeks. That is not uncommon, and we are seeing it more frequently.
The Texas governor has deployed more than 100 firefighters and emergency personnel in some 25 fire engines, command vehicles, and other equipment. And in my years of covering wildfires, I've seen crews from every corner of the state, plus Oregon, Washington, Montana, Colorado, and Arizona.
That's truly the benefit of the systems that are in place.
Tom Vakar, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And the man accused of starting that large fire, Ronnie Stout, was charged with arson in a Butte County courtroom today. Authorities say Stout pushed a burning car into an embankment. If he's convicted, this would be his 3rd felony, and he would automatically be sentenced to 25 years to life in prison under California's 3 strikes law. In Washington state, the Bighorn Fire has burned more than 50,000 acres. It started 6 days ago in Klickitat County. It's now 68% contained tonight. Fire crews say they are taking advantage of favorable weather, trying to secure fire lines and increase containment. Also in Washington, urgent evacuation orders are in effect tonight for the town of Stehekin in Chelan County. The Pioneer Fire has burned more than 33,000 acres, and it's 15% contained. The fire started back on June 8th. Crews expect that fire won't be fully contained until the end of October. In Arizona, a wildfire is burning in the Tonto National Forest northeast of Phoenix. It started last week and more than doubled in size over the weekend. It now stands at 13,600 acres with no containment. No homes are threatened here, and authorities believe this started with a lightning strike. Authorities in Oregon have identified the firefighter pilot who was killed in a crash near a wildfire last week. The U.S. Forest Service says 74-year-old James Maxwell died while working on the Falls Fire in eastern Oregon. Maxwell had 54 years of pilot experience and logged roughly 24,000 hours of flight time. The Forest Service says he was flying a single-engine air tanker when that crash happened. An earthquake rattled parts of Southern California and southern Nevada today. The USGS reports a 4.9 magnitude quake struck about 13 miles east of Barstow at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. There are no reports of any immediate damage, but one man who felt the shaking compared the earthquake to an explosion.
All of a sudden, like the windows started rattling, the little metal started rattling, all the shelves right here were rattling. And at first I thought it was like the aftermath of a sonic boom or something, and then it just kept going. So yeah. I was like, yeah, no, it's an earthquake.
And a lot of folks felt that quake today. The shaking obviously felt there in the high desert in the Barstow area. The shaking also felt in Palm Springs, as well as up in the Las Vegas Valley. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez with more on this quake. And also, Roberta, we're going to talk about the weather conditions for those firefighters as well.
Absolutely. But just briefly, let me say I was texting my childhood friend Gilbert Cruz at the time of that earthquake. And he said, and he lives in Barstow, he says, I just felt a jolt. And then I got that earthquake on my phone as well. And it was just so ironic that the two happened together. And by the way, I am from Barstow, born and raised there. All right, let's talk fire action here, okay? This is from our Goes West 18 satellite that's orbiting roughly about 22,000 miles above the equator, gives us the best Western Hemisphere information. Right now, we're looking at the Park Fire. Over 373 acres have been charred with only 12% containment. And you could see that plume of smoke all from our Goes West 18 satellite imagery. It's drifting up in a northerly and then an easterly direction. At this particular time, we have 90 degrees in Chico, part of that area where the park fire is burning out of control. The relative humidity, 25%. The winds are lightening up out of the south now at 8 miles per hour. But this is what we project for your Tuesday at noon. 81 degrees going up to a high temperature of 91. And then that's it. That's the only time we have the relief, because the temperature soars to 99 degrees by Wednesday and triple digits Thursday, all the way to the following Thursday with lower relative humidity. We need some rain there. Not seeing it. We're seeing the rain right there from the monsoonal action, and it has been engulfing the Sierra Vista area, lifting into Tombstone, Arizona, on its way into Tucson. Phoenix void of the rain, but plenty of cloud cover at 109 degrees at State Farm Marina in Glendale, just about 10 miles outside of Phoenix, home of the Arizona Cardinals. There you go. 108 degrees is in the forecast for Phoenix for Tuesday. How about this? Look at the cloud cover. Lots of rain showers today in the Seattle area. High temperature only 69 degrees, hub for Alaska Airlines. Then you have the city of San Francisco, and keep in mind the Salesforce Tower stands 1,000 feet tall. You could see the fog bank a little bit lower than that, if not just even. Gives you a good idea just how compressed that fog bank was today. There was no clearing in San Francisco today. Very typical for the month of July. 84 degrees in Los Angeles today. It was only 74 degrees in Avalon on Catalina Island, about 54 miles just offshore of Los Angeles. A quick 1-hour ferry ride. And in Los Angeles tomorrow, 70s and low 80s will be common. It is currently 61 in San Francisco, 101 in Vegas. How about 108? Still slow to cool in the Phoenix area. We will see these rain showers dissipate, and it looks like we will have 70s in Seattle tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, 60s along the seashore in San Francisco, and 80s in Southern California. Make it a wonderful evening.
Roberta, thank you. In northern Arizona, a day out on the water turned tragic when a boat capsized, killing 3 people, including 2 young children. The Coconino County Sheriff's Office says the pontoon boat flipped over Friday afternoon on Lake Powell. Deputies say it was being towed at the time by another vessel when large waves slammed into the boat. Several people were trapped underneath the boat. Witnesses did help to rescue some people, but 2 4-year-olds and a 72-year-old woman died at the scene. 2 other people were taken to the hospital to be treated. Tonight, Interstate 15 is back open between Las Vegas and Southern California after a traffic nightmare over this past weekend. The freeway was shut down 2 entire days after a semi-truck carrying lithium batteries crashed. This happened on Friday between Barstow and Baker, right in the middle of the Mojave Desert. The crash sparked a fire, and it led to gridlock as crews had to carefully deal with the truck's hazardous materials. The CHP finally was able to reopen that stretch of freeway on Sunday. A UNLV professor who was caught in that traffic says this whole situation shows just how dependent the western U.S. is on private transportation.
It's a risk. We wouldn't be so vulnerable to having something as small as an accident completely stop travel. It's scary. Let this historic traffic jam be the response to all the criticism of the LA to Las Vegas high-speed rail.
And again, Interstate 15 through the Mojave Desert back open to traffic tonight. Mayors and county supervisors from several border communities in Arizona are endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris. The mayors of Bisbee, Nogales, Somerton, and San Luis all backed the presumptive Democratic nominee. 2 Yuma County supervisors are also endorsing Harris for president. Republicans are accusing her of failing to do enough to clamp down on illegal immigration in a role they characterize as President Biden's border czar. Border arrests have fallen from record highs last December. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance is headlining a fundraiser tonight in Silicon Valley. This is hosted by BitGo Chief Executive Officer Mike Belshie. It's happening in Palo Alto, south of San Francisco. Vance's campaign stop out west follows a joint appearance with former President Trump in Minnesota on Saturday. Tonight's fundraiser requires a minimum $3,300 donation per person, and couples have to donate at least $50,000 to sit at the host table. Arizona's primary election is happening tomorrow. One political analyst outlined one of the key races that could be hotly contested.
Starting at the top of the heap, Kari Lake does have some opposition in the form of Mark Lamb, who has a certain amount of visibility and following. I expect her to prevail, but she does have a challenger.
Kari Lake is a former TV news anchor who unsuccessfully ran for governor in 2022. Mark Lamb is the current Pinal County sheriff. Both candidates are looking to replace the incumbent, Kirsten Sinema, who declined to seek re-election. Polling places will open as early as 6 a.m. And if you're holding on to an early ballot, it can still be counted. Don't mail it in, but instead drop it off at an election drop box by 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
I prefer to be out here, but we'll see what happens.
One of the largest cities on the West Coast begins clearing homeless encampments from the streets where unhoused people are supposed to go as enforcement ramps up. Also, an entire Southern California neighborhood has their gas turned off. Why the utility in this area says this was done for their safety and why many neighbors are frustrated by the decision. Today, the city of San Francisco began clearing out some homeless encampments. This comes after a Supreme Court ruling paved the way for stepped-up enforcement, and California Governor Gavin Newsom urged city leaders to clear those camps. KTVU's Christian Captain shows us what the effort looks like and explains how those living on the streets are responding.
The city of San Francisco has started a renewed push to clear tents on the city's streets. Jeffrey Fry says the latest effort from the city means a challenge for him.
Damn right about that. I think it's BS too. But I mean, I guess they're trying to make stuff safer for people or something like that. But I don't know. I think it's still a hassle.
City crews say they try to engage with those living in tents, offering mental health care and/or drug and alcohol counseling, give at least 2 days notice that a sweep is coming, and offer to hold on to the belongings of the person in the tent. The city's homeless outreach teams offer shelter beds that are available immediately.
We offer it, see him, give him what the opportunity is right now. There's this opportunity to be at this navigation center, or at this shelter, or this hotel, that kind of thing, whatever's available in the day. And then okay, I'll take a navigation center, but all right, let's go.
Joel, who didn't want to reveal his last name, said he's been told he could be arrested if he didn't clear out. He said he just wants to be left alone and that he's not interested in a shelter bed.
You go take your stuff in there and just lose everything and get kicked out. I don't know. That's happened to me. I prefer to be out here, but we'll see what happens.
This latest push to clear encampments comes a month after the United States Supreme Court cleared the way, and less than a week after Governor Gavin Newsom ordered state agencies to step up their enforcement and asked cities to do the same. The mayor said San Francisco's plans have been in the works for weeks. She said San Francisco can be compassionate, offering help, while at the same time making homelessness so difficult that it pushes people to accept the help the city is offering.
We are doing everything we can to make it clear to people that our expectation is that you take us up on our offer for services. And if you don't, we want to make things less comfortable for you.
Advocates for the homeless say there are many reasons why shelters don't work for some people, and that following sweeps, the most vulnerable are worse off than before.
Giving a short notice and then coming in and removing an encampment doesn't change the basic problem of someone having nowhere to go and not having, not having a place to live, not having a shelter.
The men we spoke with said they planned on moving a few blocks away and then maybe moving back to that same location later on if they can. The city says it can maintain this level of sweep for now, and officials are hoping that as more people take the city up on the offer of shelter, there will be fewer encampments to sweep. In San Francisco, Christian Cafton, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Another big city mayor from Southern California is also supporting Governor Newsom's executive order on homeless camps. San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria released a statement that says, in part, quote, "All of us, mayors, other local elected officials, state leaders, and housed community members must be united in acting with purpose to create more shelter options and housing for those in need." A special Texas Senate committee held a hearing today to get questions from energy providers, the Public Utilities Commission, and state emergency management officials. Nearly 3 million people lost power in the Houston area after Hurricane Beryl made landfall earlier this month. Officials say 36 people died because of heat complications after losing power. Governor Greg Abbott called for an investigation into the response, primarily from electricity provider CenterPoint. The company has since rolled out a $2 billion resiliency plan. More than 100 homes in Southern California had their gas shut off today. The utility, SoCal Gas, cut the service for 135 homes in the Rancho Palos Verdes area due to concerns about land movement that started more than a year ago. Fox 11's Hal Eisner spoke with people living in that neighborhood who say they are beyond frustrated by these shutoffs.
Do you feel that the gas company has given you enough notice? No. Yes or no? No. No. These Rancho Palos Verdes homeowners could not be more unhappy. Yes, they say. This area along the Pacific has been moving at a faster clip in recent months than previous years because of an ongoing landslide.
From March on, it's been devastating. We have a fissure going right through the center of our house. We're down to decision-making time.
The gas company's Chris Gilbride says Friday the utility made a decision and told the homeowners
it's no longer safe to operate the natural gas system for about 140 homes in this community.
They pointed to 19 streets in which homeowners will be affected.
The pipeline that is serving the community is under new and significant strain.
But to these homeowners, even though the gas company has set up an information booth nearby,
the lack of information, I think, is probably my most frustrated emotion right now.
What to do about cooking when you have a gas stove, how to clean clothes when your appliances are gas, how to heat water for the shower when you have a gas system. And are you worried about what's to come next? You have no idea.
We need to prepare, especially we're not going to have gas.
What we heard from these people and those at the information booth was a real sense of uncertainty and mistrust.
I don't believe that they only saw that pipe was crooked just Friday. I am sure it's been visible, and if they had been doing their due diligence, they would have seen it.
So you're suspect?
Very.
But do you think this is dangerous?
Yes, I think it can be. However, I think there are solutions to it.
And how to deal with life.
Basically, I'm trying to go and order, electric water heater for right now, but that won't handle laundry or, taking showers.
It's going to be difficult, but especially financially, it's going to be very difficult. But I think there are solutions to a lot of these problems.
But set short notice.
The way this was communicated, it was like thieves in the night on a Friday night to say, by the way, on Monday morning, you have no gas, without any solutions or ways to accept that.
Obviously, for us, turning off the gas is a matter of last resort.
In the Portuguese Bend community of Rancho Palos Verdes, I'm Hal Eisner, Fox 11 News.
A former Major League Baseball pitcher who played for several teams here on the West Coast died over this past weekend in a motorcycle accident. 31-year-old Reyes Moranta was riding a motorcycle yesterday in the Dominican Republic when he crashed. Moranta played for the San Francisco Giants, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and most recently the Los Angeles Angels in 2023. He was reportedly released from a Mexican League team just last week. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, California raised its minimum wage for fast food workers in the spring. We'll explain the impact that one report says this is having on customers. Plus, a band says it gave a rising artist an opportunity to create a poster for one of its shows here in the West. How the group says it was deceived through the use of AI. A new report shows raising the minimum wage for fast food workers in California has led to a spike in prices. The Employment Policies Institute found since the state raised the minimum wage for fast food employees to $20 an hour back in April, 98% of restaurants say they've raised their prices. 89% of those establishments say they've also cut workers' hours. A different study from the Roosevelt Institute found the fast food industry experienced record-level profit margins last year. Artificial intelligence on Apple devices could be making a delayed debut. A report says Apple's AI features will not make it in the iOS 18 update expected in September. The report says the new features will likely be available by October in a later software update. Apple's AI is expected to help users create text, images, and other content. The report says Apple Intelligence could be open to software developers this week for early testing of iOS 18.1. The Tedeschi Trucks Band is apologizing tonight for a concert poster they say was created using artificial intelligence. In an Instagram post, the blues rock group says they believe they were giving an artist an opportunity to create a gig poster. That poster was for the group's recent show at Red Rocks Amphitheater outside Denver. They say they are now asking the artist for more information about their creative process. A deputy in Arizona rescued a young eagle that landed on a roadway. Deputy Mark Giraldi was working with a road construction crew in Mojave County when he saw something fly under his car. The deputy was able to get the bird into the back seat of his cruiser to cool it off. Then Arizona Raptor Center officials came to get the bird, and they realized that the eagle is still young. They say the bird was likely separated from its parents and would have died without the deputy's help. 7 restaurants in Mesa, Arizona, all coming together tomorrow for this year's Taco Trail. Downtown Mesa will be hosting the self-guided event. A limited number of taco passes are still available for purchase. Each pass contains 7 tickets, one for each of the participating restaurants.
We've only been in downtown Mesa for a year. We really want to be part of that camaraderie. That's part of the reason we came down here. All of the businesses are really good about being, sharing each other and hanging out.
And the Taco Trail gets underway tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, again in Mesa. Finally tonight, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority announced today it is now an official partner of Formula One. This 18-month deal is valued at $12 million and it runs through 2025. The partnership covers 15 races over 2 Formula One seasons. And that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. A reminder here, you can stay up to date on everything we're covering at westcoastwrap.com. Good night.